Yo, what's good, guys? It's Austin here, or Luna. So today's story time is definitely a classic for sure. Definitely one that reminds me of the old days on this channel, and one that I thought I told a long time ago. But after looking and watching a bunch of my old videos, I realized that I didn't tell this one yet. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this story time. Before we get into it, just want to say I'm live on Kick after this video goes up. So if you want to come hang out and chill in the live stream, I'll link that first link in the description. Come hang out, come kick it. I'll be there for a couple hours after this video goes up. But anyway, on to the story. So guys, today's story time is about the time that I got expelled because I got caught with weed in school. Yeah, not my proudest moment, but yeah, I'll tell you how it happened. Let's get into it. So today's story time all takes place when I was 16 years old. One of my last years in high school, to be specific. It was like right before I dropped out. And yeah, I was just trying to get through school and finish early if I could, whether that be getting my GED or trying to graduate early, which was definitely not going to happen. I was way too stupid for that. But yeah, that's what I was trying to do, right? I was trying to be a good student. Now, unfortunately, I didn't have the greatest track record of being a good student. Every time I tried to be a good student, I would end up doing something stupid and kind of, tarnish my reputation a little bit and, make the teachers and the principals not so happy with me. And this was definitely one of my biggest fuck-ups. So I've talked about it quite a bit on this channel, but I have gone to many different schools. My main high school liked to move me around a lot because I wasn't the best student, like I said, so sometimes it would put me into like these secondary schools, essentially, that were for bad kids, and you could get extra help there, and essentially they had, higher security there because a lot of the students there were not such good kids. So yeah, I got moved around a lot. And at the time, I was at one of these secondary schools. I had been there for about 3 months at this point, and I was mainly there because my grades were so bad, and I was there for extra help because every classroom at that school had 2 teachers instead of 1. So essentially, you could get extra help and pass your classes easier, and also it was extra security, like I said, for the kids that were bad. And because there were so many, quote-unquote bad kids there, that means I was heavily influenced by those bad kids. So this all starts off as a regular day. I got up out of bed, took a shower, got ready for my day. I remember being pretty excited on this day because my mom was actually going out of town and I was going to have the entire house to myself for the weekend. She was going out of town with my brothers, so essentially I was going to be home alone all weekend without, anyone. And I just planned on having a very fun weekend. I already invited a bunch of friends over. I was going to have a little bit of a party. My mom actually knew about this. She didn't care for some reason. Usually she did not let that happen, but she trusted me for some reason. I don't know. And yeah, I was excited, right? So I got up out of bed, took a shower, went to school, had a smile on my face because I knew that after the school day was over, the weekend was going to start because it was Friday, and I was going to have the whole weekend to party essentially without any parents or brothers around. So I was excited, right? Now I got to school, went to my first period class, sat down, and I sat next to this kid. We'll just call him Aaron, okay? Aaron was probably the worst kid in the entire school. He was a little shithead. He got into a lot of trouble. The reason he was even in that school to begin with was because he fought a teacher, and I saw the photo of the teacher, and this teacher was jacked. So the fact that Aaron had the balls to fight this teacher is crazy to me. But anyway, that's besides the point. Like I said, Aaron was definitely not the best kid. And on this day in first period, he sat down next to me and he was like, "Hey man, how you doing?" I was like, "Good." He's like, "How's that YouTube shit going?" He knew about my YouTube and stuff, as did everyone in my school pretty much, because at that point word had gotten around. And yeah, I just responded. I was like, "It's going good, man. How you been?" He's like, "Pretty good, pretty good. You looking to buy some weed?" That was like the second thing he said, basically. And I was like, "Honestly, man, I would love to, but like, I don't want to do it in school. I'm not trying to buy it in school. So after school, if you want to meet me like by the bus stop, we can do it there." And he was like, "Nah, man, I gotta sell it now, bro. I don't want to have it on me all day." And I was like, "I can't do it then. I'm sorry, bro." And he was like, "All right, man. All right, all good." He gets up, he walks over to someone else's table and goes and tries to sell it to them. And I didn't think much of it, right? The rest of the day, didn't think much of it. Kind of just went on with my day. And like I said, was excited for the weekend. So anyway, like 3 hours later, it's lunchtime. I'm eating my lunch in the cafeteria with my friends, just having a normal lunch. The day's almost over. I'm excited. School day's almost done. Weekend's almost here. Gonna have a party. It's gonna be great, right? And then all of a sudden, over the announcements, they come on and I hear, "Austin to the main office, please. Austin to the main office." So I get up, all confused because I don't really know what I did wrong. I go to the main office. I sit down with my principal. And my principal at this school, he was definitely like the world's biggest dickhead on earth. I sat down in front of him and he goes, Austin, what are we going to do with you, man? And I was like, what's up? And he goes, how stupid do you think we are, Austin? And I was like, honestly, I have no idea what you're talking about. Can you just like cut to the chase? And he's like, you know that every Thursday and Friday we bring in drug dogs to search lockers? And I was like, yeah, I know about that, which was true. This school had so many bad kids in it that they would literally bring in drug dogs 2 times a week to sniff people's lockers and look for drugs. And that's half the reason I said no to buying weed that day. Even though I would have had it on me, I still didn't want to have it on me when there was drug dogs even close to me. So I was like, yeah, I know about the drug dog searches. What about them? He's like, yeah, well, they hit on your locker. And we searched it, and we found quite a bit of marijuana on your locker, Austin. You want to explain this? And he looks up and he goes, send them in. And these police officers walk in, these 2 cops, and one of them's holding a bag of weed. Now, I'm not even worried, right? Because I knew that I had nothing on me. So I was like, listen, you guys got the wrong locker. You probably searched the one next to mine and like thought that it was me. But my locker is number 608, not whatever locker that was. And he goes, nope, that came out of locker 608, which is your locker. We verified it. It's yours. So want to explain why you had that in school grounds? And I was like, you don't understand. Like, this is not okay. Somebody planted that on me. Like, I swear. And he goes, oh, sure they did. Good excuse, Austin. Good excuse. And I was like, no, like, I'm not joking or, like, lying to you right now. Somebody framed me. Like, check the cameras, something. Because, like, I did not bring weed to school. Either someone planted that or you planted that. And the cops start laughing. And the main one that had the weed in his hand, he's like, yeah, sure, we would plant this in your locker. Now, why would we do that? And I look at him with a real dirty look because it pissed me off that he was laughing in my face. And I was like, wouldn't be the first time cops did something shady. And they got real pissed off when I said that. Immediately, they stood me up, turned me around, and handcuffed me. And they proceeded to walk me out and sit me down in the back of one of their cruisers. And essentially just gave me this whole rundown of how I wasn't going to be at school anymore and how I was a bad kid and I need to get on the right track. And if I don't, I'm going to end up in prison by the time I'm 18. Just like ranting to me. And I wasn't hearing any of it because I didn't do anything wrong. So I ignored them. And I was just like, hey, so is my mom coming to get me? Am I going to jail? Like, what's going on? And they're like, don't worry, she's on her way. She's picking you up. So that was one good thing. I wasn't going to jail. They just handcuffed me and put me in the back of a car because they wanted to scare me, essentially, until my mom got there. And they were mad at me for calling them shady. But anyway, like 20 minutes later, my mom pulled up. She had to leave work to come get me. She screamed at me in the parking lot, told me that I ruined her vacation. Now she has to cancel the trip with my brothers and stay home all weekend because she can't trust me. And then I'm probably going to get expelled and all this stuff. And we had to go back into the main office with her. They unhandcuffed me. Had to sit down with my mom, and my principal essentially told me to my face and her face that I am expelled. I'm not allowed on those school grounds ever again. And then I'm going back to my main high school, and they're going to figure out what they want to do with me, essentially. And that's what happened. The weekend came. My mom canceled her vacation. She had to stay home with me. I was grounded. I couldn't do anything. No matter how many times I told her that I didn't do it, she didn't believe me. My family didn't believe me. My school didn't believe me. The secondary school that I got expelled from didn't believe me. And I just still didn't know who would do this to me. Like, who would plant weed in my locker. Now, the good thing is, it wasn't a lot of weed. Like, it wasn't enough to send me to jail or anything. Bad news was I was expelled, right, for something I didn't do. So I was determined to figure out who did this. Like, I really just wanted to know. I wanted to figure out why. And I wanted to make sure that, my name got cleared. So I started thinking about it. Like, who would do this? Now, the first thought I had was Aaron, because Aaron tried to sell me weed that morning, and then, later that day, I'm getting, put in handcuffs for having weed on me. But Aaron, in my opinion, was too stupid to plant weed in my locker, let alone do that to me because we were friends. So then I started thinking about other people that smoked at that school, and, like, people that didn't like me, and nobody was really coming to mind that would have done this. So I really was just drawing blanks. I had no idea, like, what to do. And eventually, I gave up. Yeah, I can't lie. I thought about it for like 2 days, thought about like who could have done it, tried looking on Facebook through friends of mine to see if any of them like knew anything and messaging them, but no one had any answers, so I gave up. And about 2 weeks later, I was getting ready to go back to school because I had to like wait. There was like an in-between period of getting expelled from my last school and going back to my old school. And right as those 2 weeks were up, and it was the day before I was about to go back to my old school, the one that I was at before I got sent to the secondary school for bad kids, I get a call on the phone, my home phone, and my mom was at work. So I answered it, and I was like, hello? And they were like, hello, is this the blank household? And I was like, yes. And they were like, who's speaking? And I was like, Austin. And the voice sounded really familiar. And he goes, "Hey, Austin, it's your principal," or ex-principal, that is. And he says his name, and it was the principal of the school I got expelled from. And I was like, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" He's like, "Pretty good, and you're about to have a much better day than I am. Austin, I owe you an apology." And I was like, "Oh, do you?" He's like, "Yeah, you were right. Somebody planted that on you. It wasn't you. It wasn't yours. I'm sorry." And I was like, "Oh, really?" I was being real, like, just an asshole to him. And he's like, "Yep, you were right. It was Aaron." Aaron, and he said his last name. He's like, "Yeah, Aaron knew your combination. He must have saw you put it in or something. And he put it right in, opened your locker, put the weed in there, and he left. And we caught it on camera. One of the faculty members here just had a suspicion, so she went and looked, and we saw it happen. So yeah, I just want to say I'm sorry for expelling you. You're obviously no longer expelled if you want to come back. That's, of course, your mom's decision to make, so when she comes home, I'd like to have her give me a call if that's okay with you, and we can talk about that." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And I was like, "Did Aaron say why he did that?" And he goes, "Honestly, Austin, I have no idea. We tried asking him. He just kept cussing at us and ignoring us. My guess, he knew the drug dog search was happening, and he didn't want to have a chance at getting caught. So, yeah, that's my guess." So, yeah, I told him thank you, and he said no problem. We hung up. And an hour later, my mom got home, and I was like, "Hey, Mom, my secondary school called, the one that expelled me. Might want to give him a call back." She goes, "Why'd they call?" I was like, "You'll see." And I smiled, and I walked away. And like 20 minutes later, she opened the door and said sorry to me because, she was wrong about it as well, and she believed me now, which was good. And she ended up going on her trip like a weekend later. So in the end, everyone got what they wanted. I got not expelled anymore. My mom got to go on vacation a week later. I was able to go back to that school, and unfortunately I didn't graduate though, so I guess it didn't matter in the end, but in the end my name was cleared and everything was okay. So yeah, moral of this story is don't be like Aaron and blame your friends for stuff they didn't do and plant things on them. That's fucked up. But yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed this story time. If you did, please leave a like on the video. I really appreciate it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below, and subscribe if you're new. I'll see you guys all later. Peace.